Human trafficking in Honduras. If you believe that slavery is long gone, then you might as well be living in a fantasy. The abolitionists' movement was not the end of slavery. Today, 1 out of every 200 people in the world is enslaved. If you were so clueless before, you must be wondering how so many people end up as slaves. Nowadays, people are usually not chained up and rounded up like before, but instead are given an offer and take it. When someone is so desperate, even if an offer seems too good to be true, they will take it. Once they realize their mistake, it is too late and they are convinced they have to pay back a debt and work for free. Even if they want to leave, in most cases they can't. Some get their passports or ID taken, and others are locked in a place from which they cannot escape. When they are enslaved, it is common for them to be abused physically and verbally. I would like to talk about a country called Honduras. It is set in what is referred to as the Northern Triangle in Central America, just south of Mexico and the tantalizing US of A. A country with beautiful beaches and many injustices. In Honduras, more than 30,000 people are enslaved, and 55% of the country's population is vulnerable to being enslaved. Now let's talk about what the average victim of human trafficking in Honduras looks like. Victims are usually poor, have a low level of education, are women or children, or part of the LGBTQ community. The median age of a victim is 14 to 16 years old. Surprisingly, it is common for the trafficker or the person introducing the victim into slavery to be a member of their family or family friend. This makes them even more vulnerable because they are more likely to listen to someone they trust than someone they don't even know. The most common jobs victims are given are street vending, domestic service, and drug trafficking. Other common sectors are fishing, mining, construction, and hospitality. A community that is quite vulnerable to human trafficking in Honduras are the Mosquito. The Mosquito are a group of indigenous people that live in Honduras and Nicaragua and are about a total of 200,000 people. Honduras is a Tier 2 country, which means that even though it doesn't meet all the necessary demands to stop human trafficking, it is still making an effort. Most of the efforts made by Honduras to stop slavery were towards stopping labor slavery and less towards sexual slavery. There have been interventions made through CICASCT, the Interinstitutional Commission Against Commercial and Sexual Human Trafficking, which is part of the Ministry of Human Rights. Other efforts are made through the Ministry of Labor. The Ministry of Labor enforces labor protocols in companies and businesses. They have inspectors that go to check if businesses are respecting all the laws. They also have a decent system to help sex trafficking victims. They have a hotline, legal and social support options, and mental health professionals are available to help them with any problems. There is no help system for victims of labor trafficking. They also have the resources to bring back child victims that have been exported and can provide help reintegrating them into normal life. Adult victims have the opportunity to get microloans and help can be provided to get them jobs or to move forward with their business ideas. One of the problems is that even though labor trafficking is more common, there is no concrete system to help victims get reintegrated into society or just with any problems they have. The standard punishment for human trafficking in Honduras is 5 to 15 years imprisonment with a fine of 75 to 221 times minimum wage. Other than the government, there are also non-governmental organizations that work in the area. One example is Global Communities, an NGO that helps combat human trafficking in many countries around the world. One way they help is by raising awareness or by educating locals on certain dangers and trafficking in general. They also support victims by offering job training and temporary shelter, as well as legal aid and prosecution of traffickers. Another popular NGO is ECPAT, which stands for End Child Prostitution and Trafficking. They conduct research in more than 100 countries around the world and focus on trying to stop exploitation of children. In 2015, they made a report on Honduras. I'd like to introduce you to a victim. So I'm here to speak. Aino Guzman is a Honduran that came from a family of 3 brothers, a mother, and an abusive father. He started delivering groceries at the age of 9. One day, when he knocked on the wrong door, he was raped for the first time. Then, at the age of 14, he started working in a pizzeria and got abducted and brought to the United States. When he woke up, he realized he was in San Diego and had been drugged. He was exploited through 6 states as a sex slave. He saw the money being exchanged for him, which made him realize they were paying for him. Every day he was drugged with cocaine and Viagra and raped by 13 to 14 different people. In protest, he started a hunger strike. 7 months later, he was found by the American police. Because of the hunger strike, he was hallucinating and was put in a mental health facility by the police. Instead of being passed on to Child Protective Services, he was treated like an illegal immigrant. He was given to Immigration and Customs Enforcement because it was thought that he moved to the U.S. willingly, when in reality he was trafficked. He was sentenced to an asylum by a judge because he was afraid that the experiences that he had been through would lead to him becoming an offender. A few years later, he was reunited with his mother who couldn't take care of him, so he became a legal orphan at the age of 16. In 2015, Swamiris was appointed by Obama to the Advisory Council Against Human Trafficking. Now he's the programmed coordinator of the International Rescue Committee's Anti-Trafficking Response Unit. He is also a licensed behavioral psychologist and a consultant for the Department of Justice for victims of a crime. If after hearing all this you want to try and help fight against human trafficking and modern slavery in Honduras, there's a lot you can do to help. You can donate to NGOs like Global Communities or ECPAT, or anyone close to you. You can also educate yourself and others about human trafficking in Honduras and its indicators. An important way you can help is by reporting potential victims and traffickers. You can also help by learning about the goods you buy and where they come from to find out if you are buying products that can be involved with modern slavery. Another approach is to start a fundraiser in your community to collect money against these issues. Now get off your couch and make a difference.